I'm sorry, Steve.
You should be.
Why?
I don't know. Just a sorry fella. Sorry looking fella.
I am a sorry-looking fella. I agree.
Does anybody use the word fella anymore?
I use the word fella all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Fellas. Hey, fella.
People look at me funny when I say it, and like how I grew up, I guess.
Oh, Gabby is back. Look at that.
Well, that picture's something else.
Yeah, you like that one? You want to see it again, Steve? There you go.
The eyes are huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not saying anything wrong. I'm just.
It's good. Yeah, Steve, you're the best.
I am.
I agree. Yeah. There's things, Steve, that you bring to the show. And one of those things is that you're just the best at being a dipshit. So.
And I do a damn good job at being the best at being a dipshit.
Maybe.
I think it's a good
job. What are you basing that on? Like, what? How can you base that you're the best? Based on what?
Viewer response.
Or lack thereof.
They don't tell me I'm the worst.
Some do. Anywho, are you gonna mute tonight, there, Steve, or are you gonna just let me kind of sit here and try to talk to you until you fucking do? Thanks, Steve. It was nice of you.
Once a week, 3 laddies come together from distant lands to talk about Bigfoot, Martians, ghosts, time travel, chupacabras, and the Sweetwater legend.
I think we're all huge fans of the Sweetwater legend.
This is the Fortean Slip with your host, Chris York.
Say no to Quaaludes? Fuck no. Wait a minute. No. Say yes.
Co-host Steve Alcorn.
Like, take a break, shut my camera off, grab a sandwich.
And sometimes special guest Matt Knapp.
Just accept it for what it is and just watch it and enjoy it.
They don't know who you are. They don't know what you want. If you're looking for entertainment, you may have come to the wrong podcast. But what they do have is a very particular set of skills.
There are no cows.
No cows?
No.
No cows were harmed in the making of this incident. We often wish that your relationship went much like that of the praying mantis.
I thought that was a reference to everything being green.
Yeah, sure you did. Carry on, gentlemen. I'm going to do something else for a little while.
Wow, Steve, would you like us to stop the program so you continue to do your shit?
You're about to witness the strength of creep knowledge.
Good evening, and welcome to the Fortean Slip, episode 106. The Energizer Bunny. Oh, Steve. Yeah.
You like the force perspective?
I put an action figure on mine, and you go with the Energizer Bunny.
Yes, sir. It's like force perspective, though. He looks like he's sitting on a table back there, but he's not. See?
Not really.
I think so.
Yeah, he's not. He's up. Your mic's up too high. That's a little better, Steve. I could buy that as being the force perspective thing that you're talking about. See, he says he's at the wrong angle though now. So now you'd have to bring up you got to get the angle right, the angle of the dangle. Yeah, see, you fucked it all up. You're gone. Fucking Energized Bunny fell, Steve. What are you gonna do? Fuck Dean Cooper. First out of the gate. Was that you doing the Scotsman, Chris? No, it was not me. Not. Thank you very much. I wanted my voice off the intro. Well, besides like when I had to speak, I wanted to have the voiceover done by someone else. It's close, Steve. That's pretty close. I'll give it to you. It's close, but it still looks like it's sitting on top of your fucking microphone.
Well, you saw me put it there, so it's not fair.
It doesn't matter. It's still it doesn't work.
Is it better?
Yes. The only way that would have been better is if you'd hit one of the Fred Dunn pictures and knocked it off the fucking wall.
No, I wouldn't have done that. Here we go.
Oh no, not the fucking VW bus I got for you.
That's right, the happy van.
The happy van. I knew I should have gotten myself 2 of those so I could have brought one home with me.
That thing is cool.
Anyway, episode 106, The Rise of Skinwalker. We'll be talking about the Skinwalker and the Wendigo tonight, 2 Native American legends.
All legends Native American?
I don't know.
No.
Have you ever kissed a Sasquatch in the pale moonlight? Because that's how you get Sasquatch herpes. You want Sasquatch herpes? Because that's how you get Sasquatch herpes. Could you say herpes more than that? Please, next time.
I wonder if he can say, yeah.
I wonder if he's trying to make a herpes joke.
Or a Sasquatch joke. I don't know which.
I'm on the fence, Steve. I'm on the fence. I would direct him to an episode of Adam Ruins Everything, the one where he ruins everything about sex. Yeah. Dispels a lot of myths in that one, Steve.
I have never seen the show.
Yeah. It's a good show.
I bet. Well, not if he's dispelling rumors about sex. I like the sex rumors.
You like the bad sex rumors, Steve?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
As long as he's not taking the fun out of it.
No, you do that all on your own, Steve. You take the fun out of it, I'm sure, for all the other parties involved.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay. All right. So, how was your week, Steve?
Uneventful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stayed home all week. Didn't do shit.
Yeah. The end of the week, nothing happened after our big Halloween special.
I learned how to make peanut butter Twinkie sandwiches.
Oh. Oh, it's disgusting, Steve. But I don't understand why you would want to have a peanut butter and Twinkies. I mean, they already make a thing called peanut butter and fucking fluff, Steve.
It's banana Twinkies.
Banana Twinkies.
Yes.
Okay, fucking Elvis Presley.
He didn't eat banana Twinkies.
No, he ate peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Yes, and I've done that before. It's not the same. You get the extra sugary goodness of the Twinkie when you do it with a Twinkie.
I think Matt's right. I think you should just mainline fucking corn syrup. I am with fucking Matt Knapp on that. If he was here, he muted a while ago, and I don't know what's happened to him.
I'm here. I'm just listening to the conversation.
Is anybody in the chat with me? Banana? I mean, you like Twinkies, right?
No.
Oh.
No,
Most
actually,
people do.
I don't like Twinkies. Twinkies have a very artificial taste to them.
Yeah, that's why you eat them.
Now that I'm older. I do not like the way that they taste. There's some other ones that I used to really enjoy, like Suzy Q's. The way those cakes, just no. There's too much sugar. It's too much for me now. Whereas it used to be fucking, give me some of that. So,
see, I like Twinkies. I like bananas. I like peanut butter. And I like sandwiches. So why not put them all together?
I like ice cream and I like pizza. What's your point?
Yeah.
But ice cream and pizza don't go together.
Exactly.
That is what I'm saying.
Exactly, Steve. And neither does peanut butter and Twinkies.
Try it.
No.
Like I could get like maybe a chocolate and peanut butter filled Twinkie. But
So
like
what's the difference?
because you've already got like one thing going on and now you're just like putting peanut butter in it, but it's not it doesn't jive with the cream, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it does.
Do you
No.
put whipped cream on peanut butter?
Oh, man, that sounds good.
Jesus. What have we done?
If
Oh
you
my
had a piece
God.
of peanut butter pie, you wouldn't put whipped cream on it?
No.
Peanut butter pie?
Oh, my God, peanut butter pie is the best.
What is it? Fucking basically a Reese's peanut butter fucking cup?
Yeah,
It tastes
pretty much.
similar.
Yeah. No, that is too much for me. See, that's
It's
the thing.
not
Like,
as-
if you got me back when I was like 20, between like 16, 25, somewhere in that area, I'd have fucking scarfed that shit, dude. Nowadays, it's like I take a bite and I'm like, ugh, it's just too sweet.
You're
It's
old.
too much. No, it's not that I'm old. I actually taste that it's fucking gross.
No, it's not.
You know? You try. I'll tell you what. I'll try your peanut butter pie. You try sushi.
No.
Hmm. It's my
Not
challenge,
gonna happen.
motherfucker.
Not gonna happen.
Or I'll try your peanut butter and fucking Twinkie sandwich.
Well, okay, but and then let's get back to this sandwich.
Yeah, this horrible fucking idea. Of a sandwich.
It's
Walk us
not.
through the process, Steve, of
How'd you get there?
construction.
No,
How did I
no,
get-
no.
well-
Take it. No, Matt, stop. Take it back before the construction.
Okay.
I want to know how you got to.
The conception.
Hey, let's make a peanut butter and Twinkie sandwich. Because, dude, unless you're a stoner, which I know you're not, there is no way I can understand how you got to, hey, man, it would be a really good idea.
I have stoner tendencies. I don't have to be a stoner.
Oh, you and my son.
So this morning we were at the salvage grocery store, where all the expired foods are. And I was trying to find some weird thing to eat because I like weird stuff. And by the counter, there was a box of banana Twinkies, and I'd never had a banana Twinkie.
That was the
Incidentally,
original
they-
flavor.
Yeah, they don't taste very much like banana unless you put them with peanut butter. Then it tastes really good. But so I made a peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich.
Stop.
Ate
I'm tapping. Right there. Can't
Tap-
go any
I
farther.
tapped when he was walking up to the counter, and he was like, and there was some expired shit.
Why the fuck are we talking about the peanut butter Twinkie sandwich whenever this motherfucker
He
just said he made a
mayonnaise.
peanut butter mayonnaise sandwich?
Am I the only one who eats peanut butter with mayonnaise?
Yes.
Yes.
in this
Hands
ro-
down.
on this show, yes.
It's so good. But anyway, so I was still hungry and I went back out to the kitchen and I said, I got some Twinkies over there. I wonder how they taste with peanut butter. And that's how that came about. So the
What
process
kind of
of
bread?
white. I don't, yeah.
Okay,
white.
see there,
Gross.
Katie, you jumped right to the point. That's what I was wondering. Did he make a sandwich out of the Twinkies, or did he put them on bread? And now
No.
we have confirmed that he put. Steve, you broke so many rules. You made a bread sandwich. Like you put one kind of bread on another kind of bread.
No,
Then you
no.
put it together.
Twinkies are cake.
Cake is a type of bread, Steve.
It's a tasty kind of bread.
Mm.
So I put peanut butter on both sides of the white bread. So one on each, because I put two pieces of bread together. So one, not both sides of the bread, but on one on each bread. I
Uh-huh.
cut the Twinkie in half, sandwiched that in between two slices of bread, and ate it.
Uh-huh.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I disagree, Steve.
I have nothing to add.
I don't understand.
I
The
think
things like and you know I can admit when I'm wrong when it comes to food. This I don't see like peanut butter. In and of itself is a very processed type of food, and the peanut butter that we normally get, and I'm sure you don't get natural peanut butter.
Jif.
Yeah,
Only the
you get-
best.
That's processed bullshit peanut butter.
Yes.
And with the artificial Twinkie.
Mm.
So the one thing that you had in there, and the bread that we have nowadays is actually kind of shit in
Yes.
comparison. So basically, you had a shit sandwich.
A delicious shit sandwich. Yes.
Oh, I'm sure it tasted wonderful.
It was awesome.
There was so much sugar in that fucking thing. Anything would have tasted fucking sweet.
It was good.
I'm sure.
I almost sprinkled some sugar in with it, but I decided
Move on. Really, Richard? Tug my fucking bag. Move on.
I'm disgusting Richard, and that's
I don't give
exactly
a shit.
No,
what I
you're
want
making
to
him
do.
hungry because
Yeah,
that's
I
some
don't give a
bullshit that the
fuck.
British would eat.
I don't fucking give a shit.
Why stick to all that ordinary crap? I mean, I've been eating bologna. And yes, I put mayonnaise on my bologna as well. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, savory.
That's where you put fucking mayonnaise, dude, not with peanut butter.
Peanut butter and mayonnaise is delicious together.
Do you put mustard on brownies?
I would like to
No.
listen, Matt.
That would be ridiculous.
Matt, in case you hadn't noticed, the bearded picker has joined us for the evening, and he's already getting points in my book tonight.
He's figured out the flow of the show.
He just
That's
comes
good.
here to take notes.
Yeah.
He comes here for outside material to use against Steve.
Yeah, well, probably.
I think you might be right onto something there, Matt.
You guys need to get together and compare pages out of the old notebook.
Please don't.
Matt is onto something here. I think he could be onto something, Steve. This could be good. This could be very good, Steve.
I'm not going to give you his contact information. So.
I don't need it.
He's pretty easy to find, Steve.
I don't need it.
Oh, for somebody like Matt who likes to investigate people, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can type in the bearded picker into Google. Not to let all my secrets out or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt has about as many detective skills on the internet as you do there,
Oh, no, I'm better.
Dave.
I'm no
You're better?
Scotch detective.
Yeah.
Alcorn's better whenever he
Okay.
decides to implement his abilities.
Steve never decides to implement his abilities
I
anymore.
don't do a fucking thing anymore.
Fuck it.
This is Steve we're talking about. Steve, you want to hit off the sour diesel pen?
No, I don't like sour stuff.
No, I'm sorry.
Clearly.
Yeah, just sweet. Much fucking sugar as you can put on that fucking thing. Do you put sugar on your peanut butter sandwich?
No,
Oh,
I don't even put sugar on my cereal anymore.
I'm just curious because the rest of the sandwich is full of fucking sugar. So
Well, yeah, I've done it. Yes, without
Yeah.
the twink. Yeah, but it's too crunchy. I don't like it.
yes, yeah, Steve. See, bearded picker's there for us, Steve. He's there for us. Name and email address on almost 500 videos, Steve.
It's just him bragging about how many videos he's had.
I've got a few videos, Steve.
I had a video go viral.
Yeah, I
That's what he
did.
would tell you.
I'm sure he did. And you know what? He probably deserves it. What the hell? I forgot to shut off my phone. I did a Steve today.
You did?
Yeah. I did.
Well,
Steve.
looky
Look at this.
there.
See,
Look at
right
me.
there on the
Where's
side of
my-
my phone.
Where's
It's
my other
off.
phone? Yeah, I gotta
Off.
shut my shit off.
Off.
Yeah, well, Steve, some of us have rough days.
You have an on-off switch on the side of your cell phone, Steve?
It is a iPhone 10. Of course, it has an on-off switch.
Doesn't have an on-off switch.
It's not an on-off switch. It turns
But you're
the
holding it up to the
ringer
camera
off.
saying, see, off.
I turned the sound off.
Yeah, There's a sound, a mute button on the side of the iPhone. I did not turn mine off.
But pointing at said button and saying, "See, my phone's off," does not verify anything.
No. Doesn't
verifies the sound is off because you can see a little red mark there. See, I don't know.
Yeah,
you can't really see it. The camera doesn't pick it up very well. But hey, I believe you. I believe you.
Was that peanut butter smeared on it?
I think it might have been.
Twinkie
Might have been.
cream?
See, but the difference between me and Steve when it comes to my phone is before, when I would say, "Steve, shut your fucking phone off," he wouldn't. He'd be like, I need to be able to hear if I've sold something. I need to know. I have to know, Marty. And me, I'm like, oh shit, my phone's on, and I shut it off.
Speaking of which, I did sell something during the show already.
Yeah.
Yeah, see right there.
Soul.
There you go. Look at you go. Look at you go.
Yeah.
You need to make a cookbook, Steve.
Peanut butter banana Twinkie vape. That would be good.
Yeah. And no, Dean Cooper, fuck Dean Cooper. We are not talking about vape flavors. This is weed. THC, motherfucker. This is called a fucking vape pen. That is fucking distillate in there.
Is that one of those ones that kill people?
What?
Is that one of those ones that kill people?
No, I actually see because I had made that mistake, Steve. I could be dead.
Yeah,
I could have been dead. Yeah, but I'm not. I could have been dead though. So locally I started getting from some of the services around here, and I saw that they had the cartridges on sale. So I was like, oh, I'll grab some of those. So I grabbed a couple, and the next day my lungs literally hurt. Like it was like I developed bronchitis overnight. And so I called him up and I was like, listen, this is fucking nasty. I'm like, I've never had anything like this happen. And they came and they replaced it with something else, which I was grateful for. But I just was like, no, I'm not buying those again. So I see another deal. And I know that there's ones out there that are good. I just didn't know where to find them. So I called the guy up and I'm like, listen, this is the experience that I had. And I don't want to have that experience again. And he was like, yeah. He's like, dude, the stuff that we have is all lab tested. It's not made here. We're not putting anything in it to thin it out or anything like that, which was one of the things that the guy had said to me here, that I put thinner in it. And I'm like, you what? Like that right there should fucking tell you something, you ignorant fucking asshole. I put the thinner in it like it said to. You shouldn't be putting thinner in anything that you're vaping like that. That is fucking nasty. And that's why I wound up fucking having lungs that hurt the next day. You know, and to his credit, took everything back. Gave me like a gram of concentrate in exchange for it. But so I'd asked this guy, he's like, no, everything's lab tested. It's thick shit. It's not the thin stuff that you're gonna find in some of these other ones. And et cetera, et cetera. So I tried it out, and well,
you didn't die.
I didn't. Well, no. The thing was, Steve, is I didn't wake up this morning with sore lungs.
Yes.
And I didn't cough off of it. So, like,
right.
I've been able to, you know, you've watched me take a couple of hits off. It's smooth. And get you high as fuck, Steve. You should take a hit off this, Steve. Yeah.
No, thank you. Thanks for the offer, though.
Yeah.
But no.
Your wife have a toke?
Good luck. Remember before the show, I was saying I'd have to find another place to live.
I've always been told, and I don't know if Katie will confirm this, if she'll be willing to confirm this for us as a female. She might want to just like plead the fifth. Nearly every woman that I've ever known that I've been intimate with have all said that weed makes them horny. Katie?
I'm going to go ahead and take that plead the fifth option. Since you put it out there.
Hey, if you need to take that option, Katie. Yeah, no, I literally bar none. I had one.
Wait, I can plead the fifth on this show?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Steve, I used to have a girlfriend who would not have sex unless we smoked first. And it started to give me like a fucking complex.
It should.
I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It just got kind of weird. But no, I was just curious if you or the wife ever partook there, Steve.
I have partook.
Aren't you in a weed legal state?
I don't know. I think medical.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't keep up on that stuff. I don't use it. Why would I keep up?
I think Ohio is recreational now.
Steve, you should take advantage.
Well, now that it's recreational, I think I'll just go ahead and do it.
Your wife a gummy some night, you might have a wild ride, bub.
We don't eat any gummies. Oh yes, the bearded picker knows the laws in every state about this sort of thing.
Oh, okay. So the bearded picker. Sorry, Katie, you've been trumped.
That's all right.
Ohio is medical only.
He's very familiar.
He
where
makes
he can have it and where he can't.
Yeah. He knows all the weed laws. So when he has to traverse over state lines,
he knows them all. He knows all the concealed carry laws too, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
but he drives a lot.
Well, it's good to know. I mean, Steve, you should go get your medical card.
What would that do for me? I don't use this stuff, so
maybe you should.
Could I use that and then like sell it to other people, like food stamps, like people do with food stamps?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, you can get some type of scam
if
going.
you'd like to face the same prosecution.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess the prosecution's a little stricter.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there may be an individual on the show who lives in a state nearby you who can't get access to these products, Steve.
Really?
Yes.
At all?
Well, not in that state.
I mean, legally.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
You could help somebody out, Steve.
But no.
Is it, Matt? I want to just, for the record, across the board for this motherfucker.
Oh, it's not just him. It's not just him.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's our group of peers.
Michigan and Illinois are both recreational legally. Michigan and Illinois.
Of course, Colorado, I believe, right?
Keep that in mind, Steve. When you're out there, you want to get yourself a nice big fucking blunt. Spark up. Yeah. Just fucking. I think you should. I think you should.
Nope.
Why not? Steve, I seriously think we should revitalize the VW bus tour.
Look at the guy right now. You really want to introduce marijuana to that scenario?
No. See, here's the thing that you don't understand. I understand the chemistry behind marijuana. I'm like fucking Walter White over here, man. You give Steve a nice sativa, he'll be bouncing off the fucking walls high. Because that's what I have in this pen right here. Is fucking sativa. Now you don't see me fucking like Steve. I've been up and happy.
Maybe I'm just naturally high.
By naturally high, do you mean lazy?
Maybe a little.
I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that. Let's see. Bearded Picker. I tried to get Steve to try it in Vegas. He made me get high alone. Steve, how dare you?
He didn't try very hard, number one.
Oh, look at this guy.
You can't be
If he had pushed a little more.
be a wingman in Vegas. Dude, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, it does not.
Sure does.
It's a myth.
How is it a myth?
Because we're talking about it right now.
Yes. See, Matt understands.
If you had smoked weed in Vegas, I wouldn't be talking about it.
Oh, yes, you would.
No.
Because I would have came straight home and said, "Hey, Chris, guess what I did?" And so
you would have
know.
dedicated an episode to it.
No, instead, you went to dinner with a man who smokes poles.
Smokes what?
Poles.
It's a lovely dinner. There was no. Yes, I understood it after you said it.
Jesus Christ.
There's nothing. I mean, it's what he likes.
I'd like
to do.
Tap out again.
Doesn't mean I have to participate.
Dangerously close to another subject.
Oh yeah, he lives in that state where you're not even allowed to talk about it. So
talk about what?
Who?
You, Matt. I mean, isn't Oklahoma like the?
No, he's got a fucking dispensary like around the corner from his house.
I got
I meant
three
the
strains in my
smoking,
house right now.
The smoking of poles. That's still a no subject in Oklahoma, isn't it?
What?
Homosexuality.
Matt, fucking bisexual himself. How dare you?
Did you just
know Tulsa is like one of the highest ranked homosexual populations per capita, Steve?
I don't believe you.
Well, you can look it up.
Yeah.
That's fake news.
Okay. Well, it's inside an album cover of the Village People, actually. So it's been that way for a while.
Huh. I thought it was, being in the deep south.
And my actual neighborhood where I live is one of the most gay-friendly areas to live in the United States.
Awesome.
We don't have problem with gay people. We don't have problems with any people, really. We have problems with people thinking that we have problems with people. Oh. Hey, okay, we have problems with Texas. But, I mean, it's fucking Texas, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is Texas. That place is... I mean, listen, just to give everybody an idea, Texas don't give a fuck.
No, not at all.
There are more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are in the rest of the world.
Well, Texas is big.
Not sense. Bigger than freaking Asia.
Like, tigers are going extinct, and people in Texas are like, fuck it, let's have one in our backyard.
Yeah.
Well, they're just keeping the population alive.
Yeah, but it's become a problem, Steve. But Texas doesn't give a shit, and they will do whatever the fuck they want to do. And that's why they're Texas.
They're like, fuck Texas, you, we ain't even in the United States.
Yeah. Texas the same state that prosecutes you for illegal activity if you cheat in a fishing contest?
What is it they're called, Matt? Because they're not even technically a state. Or part what is it that how they are in the union? It's weird.
A republic?
No, I can't remember how it is. Matt, I figured Matt might know because he's right next to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't talk to any of them.
So she ate.
They're not a commonwealth, are they?
I don't know. It's some weird fucking thing with Texas. I don't know. Oh God. Damn it. But yeah, Texas don't give a shit. And I don't blame you for having a problem with them, Matt. It's a weird state, dude. Very strange state.
Like if you look at that squiggly line that separates Oklahoma and Texas, that's the Red River. And there's probably explosives already planted. Like, just give us the green light.
they fucking this state. This is the state that gave us Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I fucking love Texas.
I like Texas, the state.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Oklahoma, as in its geography is very diverse.
Oh, yeah.
The people, though. Yeah.
Has its moments. Is that what you're saying?
There's some good Texans.
Oh, yeah. There's good people everywhere, but
I don't want to, blanket them and smother them or anything.
I'm sure I've pissed off Richard enough with our babble.
Well, we would have actually already carried on if it wasn't for Richard's comment.
Yeah, I mean, I would have fucking gone into the show topics like fucking 15 minutes.
Isn't he using his allotted internet time for this?
Yeah.
That's probably why he's pissed
While
off.
he's listening to the show, he's on like a big hamster wheel. That
Can you guys hurry the fuck up?
That keeps everything going. Whenever he's doing the news on Saturday nights, he's like, everybody from Bigfoot Evidence.
We're down here. Okay, we got 10 minutes.
That fuck.
Good thing he doesn't have to wait around on anybody.
Yeah. It's amazing. So I thought since the new movie Antlers is coming out, which looks creepy as fuck, by the way. But someone had brought up to me, when did the fucking whole Antlers thing come into the whole Wendigo?
Whenever somebody drew a picture with a deer skull head thing that had
On top of
it, and everybody just ran with it.
Yeah. Because that was something I couldn't answer right off the top of my head, but your majority of your Wendigo descriptions are not like that. It's just a very cool depiction. The depiction with the antlers on its head, and that's what they're going with in the movie Antlers, obviously. But if you have not checked out that trailer, that is a creepy ass trailer. It's got Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad, and El Camino. I think he's in The Irishman too. And who's the woman in that?
I don't know.
I can't think of her name.
I watched the trailer. It looks creepy as shit.
Guillermo del Toro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is fucking awesome when it comes to horror movies and creepy factor. One of my favorite movies is Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, his imagery is amazing.
Oh God, yeah. And if you can handle a movie with subtitles, or if you know Spanish, you can just watch the movie as is. Pan's Labyrinth's a great movie, such a good movie, and it was one of those movies when I first started watching it, I'm like, am I even gonna like this? Like how it starts out, because I was like, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be. But it turns out it's just a great story, and it's a beautiful story, really. But I'm looking forward to Antlers, because I checked out the new trailer, and it looks good, really good. So I thought we should delve into that, and these are actually Native American legends. Both of them, the Skinwalker and the Wendigo. And no, I will not be talking about the Skinwalker Ranch. I noticed that fuck Dean Cooper said, "Oh, this is related to the Skinwalker Ranch." No, we're not doing Skinwalker Ranch anyway.
The Skinwalker Ranch has had a heavy hand in changing the mythos of skinwalkers.
Yeah. And I don't one of the things I don't want to focus on this show tonight was sighting reports. I don't care if people think they've seen these things.
They haven't.
Right, exactly.
Like, that's
This-
just the way it is.
These are legends. They're Native American legends. I thought we'd touch on them to, get a better understanding about what they were used for. But this is not going to be about the sighting reports that you see, because there are whole YouTube channels that do fucking Wendigo stories, Skinwalker stories, like that people actually see these things on a regular basis. And I disagree. I do not think that happens. If people want to put them out as fictional stories for people to hear and sit down and have they're creepy stories, fuck yeah, cool. I'm into that. I love horror. Love it. But I don't think that these things are real. Steve, what do you think?
I think it's nap time.
Yeah? Gonna take a nap tonight? Good deal. See you when we're done. And by the way, kudos to our producer, Katie, who often thinks she doesn't do a good job. She does a fucking great job. She had sent to me earlier this week. She's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this as well. I'm like, you always do fucking great. Don't worry about it. And what she sent me was perfect. It's like really concise, good stuff. So kudos to Katie this week for the write-up on the Wendigo and the Skinwalker.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So the Wendigo is a legendary monster rooted in Native American folklore of the tribes of the Great Lakes region of America, and a large portion of Canada. The word Wendigo translates as the evil spirit that devours mankind or cannibal. It is a mythical manifestation of their fear of taboos like cannibalism, greed, and selfishness. A Wendigo is created when a person resorts to the act of cannibalism. Because of the harsh winters and famines that they endured, cannibalism was a very real problem and was extremely feared. Some versions say a Wendigo is also created when someone displays other acts of great greed or extreme selfishness, or even when someone dreams of a Wendigo. Jesus Christ. How the fuck do you stop yourself from dreaming of a Wendigo?
Fairly easy not to be a cannibal.
Yeah, you cannot be a cannibal. Yeah. You cannot commit great greed or extreme selfishness. I don't know how I stopped myself from dreaming of a Wendigo. But anyway,
I have committed to not being a cannibal.
Thanks, Steve. The rest of the human race applauds you, I guess. Yes. Descriptions of the beast do vary, but it is most commonly described as a humanoid form and very tall, up to 15 feet. Holy shit. I think put Sasquatch to shame. 15 feet? It looks gaunt and skeletal with sunken, pale skin and protruding bones. It has a lipless mouth showing jagged fang-like teeth and an overly long tongue. Legends speak of them thriving in the frigid winter weather and having a heart made of ice. So they're like Steve. They have a heart made of ice. They have an insatiable hunger for human flesh and prey on any man, woman, or child in their path. The more they eat, the bigger and stronger they get. That I didn't know. Despite its emaciated appearance, it is said to have great speed, heightened senses, and even superhuman powers like the ability to change the weather or transform its appearance for trickery. Change the fucking weather. That's interesting.
Have you ever lived in the Great Lakes and see how fast the weather changes here? So that, you said it was from the Great Lakes region, and
right. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could understand that in relation to the geography.
Yes.
Wendigo psychosis. The legend lent its name to the medical term. Seems to have been seen as legitimate ailment from the 1600s to the late 1800s. Wendigo I got Wendigo psychosis there. I'm not going to make it into work this week, Bob.
I wonder if that would work nowadays.
I doubt it.
Everything else seems to work. I mean, you could be offended by
If you
everything.
like bit your boss's arm whenever you told him about it.
Yeah.
What? Why is fuck Dean Cooper saying thank the gods, Chris, and you?
I don't know. Maybe he thinks you're a god.
I was on a different page reading everything about the Wendigo, so I don't know.
I don't know. It was right after his comment about Texas becoming a state.
I know. Like, I don't understand what fuck Dean Cooper's. See, I always feel like there's an underlying reason with him.
There is. He's a Wendigo.
It could be. It could be.
He does fit the profile.
Yeah.
15 feet tall.
Mhm.
Heart of ice.
Yeah. Emaciated. Bones
Eats a
kind of
lot.
poked through. He is old.
I would believe the change the weather thing. He
With
does kind of
Dean?
look like he kind of looks like a weather wizard.
Oh yeah. He looks like the dude from what was the Santa Claus is coming to town. You know? He kind of looks like the dude out in the woods that rolls up the snowball and makes the crystal ball out of it.
He looks like if Gandalf was a dwarf.
Could be. I think we're onto something with this.
I'm just waiting for him to officially change his name on YouTube to fuck Dean Cooper.
No, that'd be good. I wish you would. Be good. On YouTube today, I saw somebody posted. I don't know if it was HBO that did it or if it was just somebody who likes the show, the new Watchmen show. There was a whole scene where like fucking Ozymandias is fucking watching this play about fucking Dr. Manhattan and fucking right on YouTube. Fucking guy's dong just hanging right there. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, art doesn't count. It's non-sexual.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if they were having sex.
There's like channels on there that are dedicated to like showing off nipple piercings.
Ooh, where do I find this now?
Just the hardware, you know.
Oh.
So they're like reviewing nipple ring hardware.
So
and
that
the only way to do that is, you know, to show
nipples.
Nipples. And they generally don't have like ad revenue monetization.
Right.
But they're up there.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm what the fuck? Guy's fucking dong just fucking hanging there. I'm like, Jesus. Okay, if that's the world we're in now. I mean, I don't give a shit. I think whatever should be able to be up there on the TV, wherever. I think YouTube's stupid to fucking censor that shit. Just fucking throw it out there. Who gives a fuck?
Parents.
I mean, as long as it's not two people having sex, or if it's not some like, you know, in any way being brutalized, or it's like then we're not going down any fucking weird roads of people like shitting and pissing on each other. Like if it's just the naked body, who gives a fuck?
Well, we'd have to change a lot of things.
Yeah. Too many things. Everything would have to change. But anyway, in some native languages, the word Wendigo also translates to owl. Owl? Some say that this fact is the reason that modern displays of this beast represented with horns, which further evolved into antlers and the head of a stag. Interesting. And longevity and evolution of this legend is credited to European contact with the natives. They swapped stories of the werewolf, which only grew their own legend. Oh, that's an interesting thought too. Say the werewolf over in Europe, bring that over.
See that's an entirely different can of worms.
How so?
I have my own theories.
Lay them out.
Well, I mean, so you have the Europeans coming. Are you sure?
Yeah. No, lay them out, dude.
Okay. So you got the Europeans coming over, and then you got like the contact with the Native Americans, and they're talking about the Wendigo, and they're like, think about what a werewolf description is. Okay.
Yeah. It's the transformation of a human into a beast.
Right, but what they look like in general physically.
Right. I get that.
And then there's actually some. You didn't want to talk about reports. I'm not going to go that route, but there are some physical descriptions of a Wendigo basically looking like a Bigfoot with a muzzle.
Right.
And you have that whole thing where some people report seeing Bigfoot with like that type of face. And those reports actually kind of trickle down from that region.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a possibility that First Nations people saw a creature. They had the Wendigo legend. They saw this creature that eats flesh, eats meat.
Mm-hmm.
They said, oh, that must be a Wendigo. Then the Europeans come over and they start comparing notes. And like that description matches the description that the Europeans had of a werewolf. And so you have that whole thing happen.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's definitely impossible that they could have, things could have been taken from one to the other, back and forth.
Right.
I think that stuff from one legend could have transferred over to the other. I think that it's very possible that they could have seen something, like the Sasquatch, Bigfoot style creature, and then attributed that to the Wendigo.
Right.
However, the legends of the Wendigo,
the legend of the Wendigo
is not that it is like a Bigfoot creature.
Right. It's just
you're
going to turn into this monster if you do these bad things.
Right. You're going to turn into this tall, emaciated, flesh craving monster.
And you're going to have to eat other people forever if you ever cross that line.
Now, the reason why they had these fucking legends was because they didn't want people to fucking eat each other.
Right. Whenever you're freezing to death and starving.
Right. Because
all the food's gone.
Does cause problems. One of the reasons why mad cow disease came about was because we were feeding cows. And it's a little known fact, like that's part of like why it came about. And mad cow disease is kind of like an effect of cannibalism. It's not the same exactly, but the very same thing can happen to people. If people eat human flesh, there is a disease.
Well, there's also like, the whole Lord of the Flies scenario, or like other times, like whenever humans get into dire situations.
Right, because of
they go fucking crazy.
Right, because of what it turns the people into. Okay, so now we're like, who do we kill off?
Right, and then whenever winter's over, the bad weather's gone, food's being grown again, and we don't have to resort to those things. Now we're standing here all looking around at each other like, what the fuck was that?
All killed Jeff.
Yeah.
In January.
It sounded good back then. But now I'm starting to think that maybe.
But there's that what was the that plane full of
the soccer players.
Yeah, that crashed, and they wound up having to resort to that.
And that was just excused.
Yep.
Like, hey, we get it.
I mean, in that situation though, can you really blame them?
Okay, well, that's the question we need to ask right now.
Did any of them
situation where survival can only be had by eating the dead, do you cross that line or do you just perish?
Not sure if I'd want to be the first to die or the guy who ate everybody else, because you're screwed either way. Either you're going to get eaten or you're going to eat everybody. And neither one of those scenarios sounds pleasing to me.
I honestly think, as much as I would like to say that I would not want to eat someone, I think survival instincts kick in. I think there comes a point where you go, you can't, we're designed to want to live.
Right.
The body is designed to want to survive.
So here's the plot twist, though. If you're in that situation, then you have to think, well, if I do eat Steve, no offense, Steve, am I going to survive? Like, if I'm in this situation, I'm probably not going to survive this no matter what.
But they did manage to survive.
They did.
Well, except the ones that got eaten.
Yeah, except for the ones that got eaten.
The ones that got eaten, Steve. But yeah, I mean, how do you make those?
You just hold on to hope, like Gilligan's Island, and
I don't know how you make those decisions. I honestly, in my opinion, I think that for me, survival would take over, and I would just do whatever I needed to do to survive.
I can say this much: I wouldn't be the first one to take a bite, but I'd sure as hell be the second.
Yeah, it'd be hard to decide. Like, and then it goes to that whole hunger thing. Like, how fucking hungry? At what point are you gonna be like, I'm fucking so hungry, fuck it?
Yeah, but if you're talking about a group of people, see, that's the thing. That's why I said what I did, because if a person chooses to do it, now it's a thing whether you're in or not.
It's already been done in front of you.
It's already happened. This is happening. Even if I choose not to, well, guess what that means? They're not going to try to do anything to keep me alive. I'm the next meal.
Yeah. And it became, and then like you were saying, the whole Lord of the Flies thing, it becomes a, tribal mentality. What happens, who's doing what, who's on what side of the line. It gets crazy.
And I think that was like the main heart of, the Wendigo legend, was the point that if you allow it to happen, it's going to take off. Like, there's no turning back.
Right. We're going to have a problem.
It's going to become a normal thing. And then if times get better, how hard do times have to get again before somebody crosses that line? That line's going to come a lot quicker each time.
Right.
Well, why should I be hungry for the next 3 weeks whenever I can just eat this guy? And
right. And, and maybe and who knows, like maybe something happened before and fucking Steve wound up eating somebody and he liked it.
No.
Not you, Steve, like another Steve, and
meat's meat.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh shit, we can't have another Steve.
Yeah.
You don't want one.
Right. So they're like, we got to stop that from happening. Let's create this legend that, this fucking
and
thing.
In that scenario, if you were the person to cross the line first and you eat, you are stronger than the others around you at that point.
Right. Because everybody else is malnourished.
Right.
So, yeah. It's a very strange legend. And I had somebody leave a message on the like page, please don't go down the road of that this thing is a Bigfoot. And that's why I made it a point to say that the legends say that this thing is like more of an emaciated humanoid creature than a Bigfoot. But that doesn't mean that I can't see the stretch, or that, someone saw a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch and then related it to the Wendigo story. That I could definitely see. However, the legends of it is that it's not like that.
Right. That's why I said in the beginning that, no, you haven't seen Wendigo.
Because when I was younger, I had always thought, because of Marvel Comics, that the Wendigo was like a Bigfoot, but in like Canada. That was my assumption of what the Wendigo was. And then I get older and I'm like, wait a minute. No, that's not quite what it is. So, there was a whole perception thing, and I can understand why someone would say that. No, the Wendigo is more of like Oh God, I wouldn't even know how to describe it. It's like a skeletal-like creature almost.
Yeah, it's like an emaciated
but it's not.
vampire person.
Yeah, I'd almost like relate it to like an undead creature
Yeah.
in a more of a fashion. I don't know who this is, but Hot Diggity Dog is back.
Hot diggity
dog.
I mean, I
Hot
don't
Diggity
know
Dog was
who
here a
Hot Diggity
while.
Dog is. Hot Diggity Dog, if you could tell us who you are, I mean, I'd be.
It's Hot Diggity Dog.
Well, Hot Diggity Dog's back then, Steve.
He
Sorry.
was he was here before.
I remember. I kind of remember Hot Diggity.
How do you know it's a he?
Yeah, could be a she, Steve.
Jeez, Steve.
We don't know. So, yeah.
I'm
Wen-
usually right, by the way. It's a he.
These are also Katie got us some nice pictures of the Wendigo.
Oh, of the Wendigo. Okay.
Yeah, she went out and took them herself.
Oh.
She's amazing photography. See that shit? Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, she
that-
captured
that's
all that
crazy.
shit. Now
She's
these are,
underappreciated as a photographer. Then.
that's right. Now these are some depictions of the Wendigo, some artist renderings, etc., etc. That is some good shit, Steve. You know,
Yeah.
you like it?
There's a lot of difference in the depictions for sure.
Well, those are all very similar. They're
Yeah.
very
1
like
and 4 are very similar.
what?
1 and 4 are very similar. 2 and 3 are
Okay,
if you count from top left.
I know what you're doing, Steve. I still don't agree with you. I think they all look similar.
No, that one is a weird looking. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the size of my screen. I can't see very
They're
well.
artist renderings, Steve.
No, I thought they were actual photographs of real Wendigo.
Well, I could find some.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's posted some that they claim are.
Yeah.
Do they have big red circles?
Always.
Okay, then they're legit.
Oh, that's the only way we do it, Steve. That's the only way we do that shit around here.
It's clear that no matter what the artist depiction is, it's just from the legend. There's no actual Wendigo out there. Because the soccer
I don't know,
players-
Steve. There might be.
Well,
There might
did any of the soccer players turn into Wendigos?
Yes.
Oh, well then I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Did any of the Donner Party turn into Wendigos?
There's a movie called Ravenous that I would highly suggest to anyone who hasn't seen it.
That's one I haven't seen, and it was on my list.
Yeah, it's great. And
Who's in that?
don't remember.
Was it Christian Bale?
I think so. It was somebody like that.
I want to say it was either Christian Bale or it was like Guy Pearce or some shit. Fuck.
Let's see here.
And Matt's gonna look it up.
Mm,
I gotta know.
Oh,
I gotta
I
know.
watched a movie this week.
Oh dear Jesus! What
It was a
movie?
classic.
Guy
It was a
Pearce.
horror movie. I actually watched a horror movie
Okay.
called Arcade from 1993. You ever seen it? Has Seth
The
Green.
horror movie?
Well, it's kind of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Mm,
Guy Pearce and David Arquette was also.
God, that Guy Pearce. I'm fucking good with my movie trivia. I'm good.
I am
didn't
not.
watch that movie though. So yes, I will. I'll put that on my list, Matt. Moving on though to the Skinwalker, not the Skinwalker Ranch. This is not the George Knapp vehicle of Skinwalker Ranch.
No relation.
And not Snowwalker.
Yes, and
It's a
not
whole different
Skinwalker,
asshole.
who never, I guess, responded about coming on our show, which is great because what would we talk to him about? The Skinwalker is a human shapeshifter, a legend of the Navajo Native American tribe. In Navajo language, they are called Yi Nal Deloshi, which translates as "with it, he goes on all fours." Witchcraft is a huge part of Navajo spirituality and can be used for both good and evil. I had heard, I've done a little bit of research on this one before, and I had heard that there are actually good there's good versions of the Skinwalker, and then there's also good witches within the Navajo legend, as well as the Skinwalker. So a Skinwalker is created when a high-ranking witch or medicine man chooses to use their power for evil. They must commit the most evil of deeds, raping or killing a family. Jesus, killing a
Well,
family.
that's evil.
Yeah, I mean that's one way to fucking do it. If you want to fucking break bad, Jesus. They then acquire the superhuman ability to transform into animals. So you rape and kill a family member, and then immediately
You get this super ability. That doesn't sound like it's too discouraging, to be honest.
don't tell this fucking story to kids. Jesus Christ.
You want to be a dog? You want to be a cat? You want to be a lion?
You want to be able to
Go rape
transfer?
somebody.
You want to be able to transform into an animal? Jesus Christ. They're
What's
most
the downside?
they're most typically said to transform into coyote, fox, cougar, bear, and birds of prey. They are sometimes said to transform into other people, stealing people's faces in order to trick their loved ones. They are still human and walk amongst the tribe with no one knowing their ability. They are said to wear the pelt of the animal they shapeshift into while in human form. Thus the name Skinwalker, the legend. Thus the name Skinwalker. The legend explains that they are a secret society of shamans turned evil, meeting at night in caves for their twisted rituals that glorify Navajo taboos like cannibalism and incest.
Isn't that taboo everywhere?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just thinking.
I think so. Skinwalkers are extremely feared. It is said just speaking of them draws them to you. Even modern-day Navajos refuse to publicly speak of the stories that have been passed down to them. They stalk homes and fellow families to create fear. When they are shape-shifted to an animal, their eyes appear human, but reversely, when in human form, they have animal-like eyes. Interesting. They have the ability to hypnotize people. So if one is seen, it is very important not to look into their eyes. Ooh. They have incredible speed, both on all fours and upright on two legs. They have purely evil intentions, putting curses on their victims with the purpose to make them ill or even kill them. Well, yeah, considering they like rape and kill to become one. I mean, Jesus.
They were evil before they became a Skinwalker. In other words.
Yeah. Not all tribes consider them evil. There's some Navajo history of the secret Skinwalker society as shamans actually being spies against other tribes of European explorers. Huh. And some Navajo have spoken of the legend and compared it to the Salem witch trials in the sense that it was a response to rising violence and cannibalism or a situation of mass hysteria. So that the legend itself is more due to shit that was going on, much like the Wendigo. It is interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No? What do you
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just it's one of those things you're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, Matt's not even going to say the word.
You're gonna tap out.
No. I mean, I'll talk. I can't offer any expertise or anything.
You don't talk about Skinwalker, man.
Right. Like there's several things that you don't say their names. That's just the belief. As far as Skinwalkers are concerned, I'm pretty sure it's like you don't talk about them because, like, if I say, Steve's a Skinwalker, well, if that gets back to Steve, and he's going to come after me. So, like, that's kind of the deal, like, don't talk about them,
Right, because that'll draw them to you.
Right, you don't want to get their attention.
Well, and especially in, if there are these things within, these little tribal communities, and then you do talk about them, it gets back to them. Of course, they're going to know, oh, dude, they're talking about me.
Yeah. And if you don't want anybody to know what you're doing,
don't talk about it.
Yeah. And I believe that would also include rapists and murderers within the tribe probably wouldn't want their name spread around
Yeah.
that they're doing that sort of thing.
Yeah. Probably not a great idea.
But basically, it was always expressed to me that it's just, a witch that is practicing evil and has the ability to shapeshift.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of the way I look at the legend, I guess. Is in that way, like that they were, evil like shamans that had the ability to shapeshift. Like that's how the legend comes across to me.
Now, I'm not saying that anybody has the ability to shapeshift. But in regards to this, compared to the Wendigo was a legend based on an entity, whereas this is a legend based on those are photographs of skinwalkers.
Right.
Whether they can do what the claims are, I don't know. Probably not.
Those are photographs of the actual witches.
Right.
The shamans or whatever you want to call these Native American people.
Right.
Like I think the one at the top right is artist depiction.
Yeah, that's like a video game graphic or something.
Right. Next to it is, these people were convinced or believed that that's what they were. At one point in time, there were, people amongst the tribes that were these shamans, these witches, whatever you want to call them. We know that those types of things existed within these communities.
Still do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like all that shit still, goes on underground, under the scene and everything. Like it hasn't changed. Like there's still practitioners. Like one of my best friends, his aunts, both of them are, Native American healers and still practice, medicine.
Mm-hmm.
We still have medicine men that, tribal members can go and talk to that,
I don't know what the fuck was in it when I was a kid. My father had gotten, my aunt is half Native American. Her father is full-blooded Micmac. And when I was a kid, we had in the house a jar of shit that my father had gotten from him, of stuff that they would use to put on like a salve for like wounds and shit.
Mm-hmm.
We had that in our bathroom all while I was growing up. They had their own shit. They knew like they had their own type of medicine. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that shit worked. It was a lot like fucking bag bomb or whatever, it was just like it didn't look like it.
I mean, I've seen it work with my friend on like a wart. He had like a wart on the palm of his hand and he tried like compound W and all that stuff and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And he told his aunt about it. And a few days later, she gave him some stuff, said, put this on there and then cover it up with like a bandage or something and just forget about it.
Yep.
And go dig a hole in the backyard and put some tobacco in the hole and cover it up. Like that's supposed to be the offering, to get it to work or whatever. And a week later, he takes the bandage off and the wart's gone and hasn't come back. So, but whenever you're talking about medicine, you have those situations, but there's also magical practices and beliefs mixed in with that stuff.
Right.
Thus burying tobacco in the backyard for an offering.
Right. It's not just, like going out and getting these herbs and stuff and, turning them into a poultice or whatever. There's more to it. They are, a lot of tribes firmly believe in magic of both good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And like these witches, the skinwalkers or whatever, are bad people, like doing bad shit, curses and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with them.
And I mean, anyone who knows like anything about any of those spiritual systems, like they'll tell you like doing like or wanting to commit evil acts, it just brings more of that back onto you.
Oh, if you believe you're cursed, bad shit's going to happen to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I do, follow, I hate to, it sounds very woo.
It does.
We're
It
not
does.
we're not very woo on this show, but it sounds very woo, but when your belief in things or your perspective can change things. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. You don't have to, but I found it to be true. And if you want to call that woo, I don't see it as woo. I see it as perspective. When you're in a shitty mood, you're gonna see the shitty things. When you're in a happy mood, you're gonna see the happy things.
It's like people who read their horoscope every day and then it happens. Well,
right, or
probably
or
working towards it happening.
they read their horoscope every day and then they relate that bullshit that somebody wrote down to their day, when in fact it
It's nothing to do one with the
one had no bearing on the other.
Well, I actually saw a thing with James Randi one time where he went into like a college. He went into like a college classroom, and he had everybody's like name or something on a piece of paper, and he passes them all out, and then he has them all turn them over and read them quietly to themselves. And what it was is he had handed out each person's individual horoscope, like describing like, their personality and everything for that, sign. And then he had the class, okay, now that you've read that, raise your hand if you felt that that was fairly accurate. Right. And of course, probably the whole class, there might have been one or two that didn't raise their hands, but everybody raised their hand. Then he says, okay, now pass it back over your shoulder to the person behind you, the person in the back, bring theirs up to the front. He had them do that. All of them were the same.
That's hilarious. Yeah, and leave it to James Randi.
Yeah.
For to do something like that, to show people the blatant truth of it.
Right.
But still, even though he does that shit and he's been doing it for a long time, people still buy into it.
Yep. Well, here's the thing about Randy. I think in a lot of ways, I just disagree with him on a lot of things. Not a lot, but enough, and he does kind of have an attitude about certain things to me. However, whenever he debunks something, he generally does it in a way where he shows you an example of it. Instead of just saying, oh, this isn't real because of this, this, and this, he'll pull the stunt on you to show you how you fall for it.
Right. Which is
good. It's a good thing.
Right.
Well, what's happening?
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. Did I kill the conversation with my James Randi rant?
No, I thought you were going somewhere from there.
That's where I was going. I was saying, even though I disagree with him, like I don't like the guy.
Right.
I understand what he does, and like I agree with a lot of his assessments on things. However, it's just the situation. Like, if I told James Randi some of my experiences, he'd tell me I'm full of shit.
Right.
I would be one of the people that he would accuse of deceiving others.
Well, I don't know that he would accuse you of deceiving others. I think he would say that it's a story. I think that he would go to like my whole view on what encounters are there someone's story of what they experienced. And he would probably, in my opinion, James Randi would go to, well, eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable. I know where he'd go with it. And he's right. And Randy is overly skeptical, in my opinion. There are people out there who are just skeptics. Mick West, James Randi. I would say probably Penn and Teller. I would put somewhere in there.
I would, yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah. But
I
there,
mean, they went as far as hoaxing to try and like debunk Bigfoot. Like that doesn't, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, and so I mean, there are people who are overly skeptical, and I think that breeds a mentality of nothing is real.
I can respect somebody telling me that I just have a story.
Mm-hmm.
I have problems with people that would tell me, well, all you have is a story and you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy is the type of person that says, oh, well, you believe this happened, you believe you saw this and everything, but you're wrong.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, like his contest, $1 million to prove, psychic abilities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's not logic, but he applies the logic that since nobody has come forward and won the contest under his rules, that it doesn't exist.
Right. What he means when he says, that whole his put up or shut up basically is what it is.
Right.
Is do it on command. Now, you and I both know that there are things that happen that can seem to be supernatural or psychic, but they're not done on command. They just happen.
Right. They're events in time that take place.
Right. So I am also of the school of that I tend to disagree with James Randi in that sense. But I love what the guy does and what he's done. Like he's called out some real pieces of shit.
Oh yeah, there's healers over in like India and stuff that are just like portraying themselves as doctors, and just like fleecing people. Like,
yeah, I mean he called out the whole what was that psychic surgery shit that was going on for the longest time.
Yeah, demon in the egg, all that stuff.
Yeah, he brought light to the whole supplement industry. That like what's that one where he takes like a whole thing of valerian root on stage? He takes the whole fucking bottle of it.
Yeah, he doesn't take a handful of the blue pill though, does he?
Yeah. Well, maybe his fucking partner doesn't like that.
Maybe he does. He does take a handful or a mouthful. Maybe a handful or a mouthful in that scenario.
Maybe both.
But the Skinwalker thing. So now you have situations where like the video actually Phil Pauling of Para Breakdown debunked this video a long time ago, but it still gets rotation on the internet all the time.
Oh, that
somebody filmed a dog.
Yeah.
In the desert. Well, there's more video than what is normally shown. And in the extended cut, the hiker that filmed the dog has close-up footage of the dog walking down and up to him, and you can clearly see it's a dog. But nobody ever passes that part of the footage around.
No, why?
But people see that footage.
No, dude, that doesn't support the story.
Right, but that video is passed around as a video of a Skinwalker.
Yep.
And so now you have these scenarios where the underground viral marketing campaign that the video game company did, where they have like the weird rake-looking creature on game cam or whatever. Like I've seen that posted as a photograph of a Skinwalker. Like now the Skinwalker has gone from, a bad magic practitioner, witch, Native American to an actual creature. Yeah, to a cryptid. And like, that's just bad.
Yeah, it's not what it is.
Right.
Like if this thing is a creature, then it's something else. A Skinwalker is a Native American shaman, witch, whatever you want to call it. It's not a creature. It's a person. That it's a totally different quote unquote animal. In my opinion. It's not.
You have a lot of that going on now. Where people are
look at what happened with the chupacabra.
Yeah.
The chupacabra is a perfect fucking example of a creature that is one thing that people continually go, well, this is a chupacabra. No, what a chupacabra is like this spiny, scaly, fucking lizard-like thing. It's nothing like what you people continually think a chupacabra looks like. A hairless fucking dog or raccoon or whatever the fuck you catch in a cage is not a chupacabra. And a chupacabra does not exist. Let's face fucking facts. They don't.
Nope.
And
But nobody cares about those facts. That's the problem.
Well,
Nobody.
the internet horror fiction, the creepypasta stuff, which I know we've talked about before, but like it's even gone as far as like I have posted things about, look, people, the rake is a fictional creation. It doesn't exist. It's never existed. It's just like, guess what? Pennywise isn't fucking real. Okay.
the
same exact thing.
Your man.
And like I've even posted the link so like you can see for yourself the original creation. Like here it is. This is where it comes from. This is how it came to be. And people will still argue, well, that might be true, but people are seeing something that matches that exact description, and that's why they're calling it a rake.
And it's that irrational, argumentative state that we've gotten into.
Like nobody was seeing those creatures before the publication of this story, but now they're seeing something that matches that description.
Did you see that the girl that got stabbed by the two girls there for the Slender Man finally did an interview?
Yeah.
Have they aired that yet?
Kudos to her. I mean, she was like, she's like, I'm scarred, and she's like, I just figure they're part of me now, and they'll fade away eventually. And
so they've aired the interview now.
I don't know if they aired it. I read a thing about it.
Yeah, I read an article, but I didn't see the actual.
Yeah, I haven't seen the article, but I mean, kudos, like I said, kudos to her for getting out there and talking about it, and being willing to own it. I mean, what a horrifying thing to happen at such a young age. Like, have two of your friends just like I had friends turn on me when I was younger, and it was horrifying just in the little thing that happened with me. Like, I can't imagine like getting stabbed out in the middle of the woods.
So here's a weird story. There is this area of Tulsa out by the airport that was actually land that was the original airport. And then the airport got moved and it was much larger and everything. So basically you have an area of overgrowth that's like this huge expanse, just like a giant field. And these guys, 3 of them, went out there one night and were out in the middle of the field drinking and stuff. And 2 of them pulled out knives or machetes or something and started stabbing the 3rd one. And they kind of buried him, not like in a deep grave or anything, but like, dirt and grass and everything just piled on top of him, and left him there for dead. Now, they were doing this as a sacrifice to Satan.
Oh, yes.
So
as you do.
Yeah. So the guy survived.
Poor fuck.
And like crawled. I think he survived. He may have died later. Trying to remember. Anyways, so these 2 guys get caught for committing this crime. Well, my uncle, his best friend, one of the guys that did the stabbing was his son. And then years later, we're talking about it. Me and somebody were talking about it. And my wife, Leslie, said, that was my cousin that they stabbed.
Oh.
How crazy is that?
Oh. What a small fucking world.
Yeah.
Well, all in the same area, so it's not all that unheard of, but that would be weird, though.
There's like 1 million people plus in the
Yeah.
Tulsa metropolitan area, Steve.
Yeah, but the chances of you running into somebody, especially something like that, would probably be higher, I would assume.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, it's a small world. I remember when my ex-wife's brother biked across the U.S., he ran into the parents of the girl that he lived next to in Gorham, like down in like Texas or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's always weird to me whenever people like run into people they know or are connected to in different states
Yeah. And he was just like, he got
or
talking.
around the world.
Yeah. And they wound up helping him out while he was in the area, while he was getting through. But it's just weird that he's like, yeah, I ran into these people that happen to be the parents of the girl that lived next door or whatever. I was like, Jesus, that's weird. But yeah, it's a small world, and it's smaller than we think.
And
We
people do fucked up shit.
We think it's really, really big, and it's a lot smaller than we think. And we're all on it together. I mean, that's the thing that I think everybody seems to forget. Everybody, there's all this fighting and bullshit and crap, and we're all on this fucking big blue marble together.
Frank says 6 degrees of separation. I'd argue it's actually less than 6 degrees for a lot.
Okay, well,
Yeah, a lot of people.
Here's another story. This girl I went to high school with and was friends with, and she eventually roommated with me for a short time. Went on a date with Jason Priestley, and her cousin dated Conan O'Brien, and Conan O'Brien had Kevin Bacon on as a guest.
Boom.
So right now we're all within 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon,
Right?
but also Jason Priestley.
Boom.
And
but not Luke Perry.
No.
Well,
Matt's like, well, Chris, I'm gonna burst your bubble on that one too.
I mean, technically Jason Priestley knew him, so yeah. But Leslie would give anything to have Luke Perry back. But it's a touchy subject around this house. But with it being a small world, that's the thing. Whenever it comes to fact checking some of these claims, it's not that hard to do.
No, not at all.
Like on the internet, where you're connected to millions and millions of people, the information is out there.
Yeah, when I started talking to people like you and Steve, I realized how easy it was for people to get information. It's a lot easier for people to get information than I was aware of. But Steve was able to pull out shit. A lot of times I was just like, how the fuck did you find that?
With great power comes great responsibility, Chris.
Okay, Spider-Man.
And free trials to background checks.
No, actually, I never used any of those websites. Never.
Yeah,
Google. Google is
an
amazing tool if you know how to use it correctly. I'm not as good as I used to be, but I suppose it wouldn't take that much to figure it all out again. And everything is out there if you just want to find it.
Chubb says, I have a friend whose mom went on a date with Lee Harvey Oswald.
I went to high school with a kid who became an actor and acted in movies with Tom Cruise and another movie with Mel Gibson. So, I mean, that's a common occurrence. Oh, this kid went to Hollywood and he became an actor and he had a small part in this movie.
Yeah, so. And like we're saying, like the degrees of separation for people, it's very small around the world.
Yeah,
and I don't. A lot smaller than we think. I'm not like trying to say, oh, if you were missing from the world, it would be like It's a Wonderful Life, and I'm sure it would be to a lot of people in your life. On the grand global scale of things, you do make a difference, yes, but not nearly as much as you do in your localized setting. Yes, you are a big part of that, but globally, I think what we all have to realize is that we're all in this shit together, man.
Mhm.
Same rock.
Yeah, same fucking rock. And we can all have fucking weird legends about fucking shapeshifters and shit.
I think we'll get back to those legends. I think those legends, obviously. Go
Well,
ahead.
no. What I think that we need to do is realize what stories and legends, and then separate that from the search for real creatures. Like Matt, I'm sure it bugs Matt to no fucking end that there are people out there that look for this bullshit when he's seen what he saw, and like it makes a mockery of everything else.
Well, it's clear that these were just stories made up to make people's behavior change. That's it. It's a lot. Religion is a lot like that.
With the Skinwalker, this is an evil shaman, witch, whatever.
Right. But it's also you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that evil witch or shaman or whatever. And
Right.
this is how we're gonna make this story up to deter you. And same with the Wendigo. Although the Wendigo's on a different level, but I guess not. They were really both. Cannibalism came up in both of them. So
Well, cannibalism, but the whole idea behind being a Skinwalker was it was you don't want to be an evil person. I think
Right.
that was more or less what the Skinwalker legend is. You don't want to go down this path of rape and murder and evil ways associated with the magic of our tribe or whatever, or even just in general. Whereas the Wendigo story was more of, listen, if you eat flesh of another human being, you're going to become this creature that can't control its hunger.
Yep.
And so one was
And in both scenarios, those activities are evil, though.
right.
Yes.
And also, like, they're both cautionary tales.
Yes.
They're like, hey, don't do this or this will happen. The Wendigo more of a creepy, scary, like, if you do this, you will become this horrible thing. Whereas the Skinwalker story to me seems more to be like, you will just be this evil person. You will just become this evil person, this horrible, demonic evil person. Whereas the Wendigo, you will become this creature. But like I said, both cautionary tales. And I love fucking creepy stories. Who doesn't love a fucking creepy story? Steve, have you watched In the Tall Grass with your wife yet? In the Tall Grass, Steve. In the Tall Grass. Come on, Bob. In the Tall
Not
Grass.
yet.
Katie watched it.
She works second shift. It's kind of hard to watch a movie with her.
Did you finish it, Katie?
No, actually, I have to admit I didn't watch that one, but my boyfriend did, and he
Watch
didn't
that
like it.
He didn't like it?
No, but he's a pretty picky movie connoisseur.
Yeah, he probably wished the grass had been mowed.
Oh, Joe. We'll have to have
He
a
just
talk.
thought it was weird.
It is weird. That's why it's good. Yep.
What's your boyfriend's favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a complicated question. I don't know. He watches a lot of movies. I'm not a big movie person, but he's always watching movies.
If you were to just pull a movie out of a hat, yeah, I'll bet you'll be pretty close to the mark.
Ugh, like
If you say-
basketball.
Like one of his top movies. Like, if you were to say one of his top 10 movies, I'm sure you can pull it out.
He really likes that basketball movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's a cokehead.
Yep.
That one. I don't know. So many. So many.
That one right there, I mean, kind of gives you an idea. I've heard that's a great movie. I've never seen The Basketball Diaries.
It is a great movie. I have seen that one.
That one I have never seen.
You know what my favorite movie is, Chris?
What's your favorite movie, Steve?
Herbie Goes Bananas.
Ah, look at you go. Look at you.
Or any of the Herbie movies, really.
Herbie.
Except the one with Lindsay Lohan. That one was, yeah.
I have to say, it's very, like, I've had a few that I've wrestled with it, but I still, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's still Pulp Fiction for me. I will never forget being the only one in the room laughing my fucking ass off.
I actually went to the theater to watch Pulp Fiction. Believe it or not.
I had friends that went fucked up on mushrooms. I was like, why?
I fell asleep. Or no, wait, that was Michael. Never mind, different movie.
You know, I have to say, Paul, I have to go Pulp Fiction. It's just, I connected with that movie in such a way. For the longest time, I wasn't sure if it was that or if I wanted to switch to another Tarantino movie, because I love Tarantino movies, but you know, there's so many good fucking great movies. Goodfellas is a great movie. Scent of a Woman's a great movie. So many great movies.
Elf. I like Elf.
Do you?
Elf is good.
Yeah, see? Even though they sing that song in there that, you know, can get everybody in trouble nowadays. But the date rape song. Yeah.
Oh. Matt, what do you think about Scorsese coming out and saying that Marvel movies and DC movies and all that shit isn't cinema?
He's an egotistical prick.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's listen, everybody's Edward Norton said something great on Joe Rogan. I loved this. Scratch an actor, you'll find an actress.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking great. And he goes, and what I mean by that is we're all putting on fucking makeup and playing dress up.
I mean, I'm a Scorsese fan, but I mean, you do it to entertain people, okay? And if you start going overboard with the whole like artistic, you know, crap, like, yeah, filmmaking absolutely is an art form without a shadow of a doubt. But you know what? Some people prefer the Mona Lisa. Some people like graffiti.
Yeah.
They're both art forms.
They're both
And
art.
he shouldn't be knocking, you know, comic book movies.
A whole portion of the art form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he should be supportive of it. Just imagine the fucking the vigilante, like Scorsese does the Punisher. Just imagine that.
Oh yeah. It'd be
Like,
phenomenal.
come down off your high horse, man.
It'd be a and again, that would be a perfect Martin Scorsese vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, the story of fucking Frank Castle.
Yeah.
It couldn't be more perfect.
Ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to be a vigilante.
I always wanted to fuck up mobsters. No,
But I mean, like, seriously, like if you read like a screenplay synopsis of the story of the Punisher, Scorsese would be like, "Oh, this would make a great film."
oh yeah,
But then if you told him it was a comic book, he'd be like, "This is garbage."
this is horrible. Yeah, and like another person who I have respect for, I think is great, is Bill Maher. And when Bill Maher came out and said what he said, I was like, dude, seriously? Really? Have you ever read Watchmen? Fuck off. Like the comics don't have any literary fucking use. Fuck you.
But yeah, I'm going to guess that these men grew up on comic books. You know, they grew up reading them. Who didn't? You know, even I did.
Some people didn't, Steve.
Really?
Yeah, there were people. I remember being in school, and there were whole sections of kids that they didn't read comics.
All right.
No,
I find that hard to believe. I mean, they were everywhere.
there were parents that thought that those sorts of things were foolish. I can remember going to like friends' houses early on when I was a kid, like meeting friends and like seeing how their life was at their house. And it's totally different from mine. And I mean, some parents do, they view things differently and they don't allow their kids to have access to those things.
I didn't own any comic books, but my uncle had his old Well, I've talked to you about his collection, and
Yeah.
I've read every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so to me, it's a normal everyday occurrence for a young boy to read comic books. You know,
Yeah.
so I just assume that everybody did. But
No,
maybe I'm wrong.
and
Maybe I'm wrong.
it's not normal for everyone. I'd say it's it's normal for a good portion of the population, but not for everyone. Some people don't.
Not nowadays. Nowadays, I think it's a lot less normal. I mean, I don't think there's a.
Oh, I think it's more normal nowadays.
You think?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well,
Well, we have all sorts of fun.
Comic Cons are huge now.
Yeah.
Culture is insanely big. You got kids are watching all the WB DC
Yeah,
series.
but I'm talking actual physical comic books that you go out and buy or read at a newsstand or whatever. So that's what I'm talking about. Is I don't think that's as big anymore.
It's bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Because I don't know any children with all the other activities that they do nowadays. I don't know. Maybe it's just my
It's
kids.
not
never
kids
did.
doing it.
Well, yeah, I understand that. That's what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about young
Kids
kids.
are reading the stuff online and like
Right.
going to the movies and watching the TV shows.
When I look at stuff my son's doing, I'm like, what? Like what? Why? He sits on Reddit. Like that's what he does. He sits on his phone on Reddit. And I'm like, why? That's what he does.
Never been a big Reddit user.
He likes looking through Reddit. He'll sit there and giggle his ass off. And if that makes him happy, fucking great. You know?
Reddit's like the new form of the old news groups to me.
Well, it's a different world. You know, it's a completely different world, dude. For kids. And, you know, like, hey, I'm Frank Smith. He makes his living off of comic book related stuff. The industry is huge, dude.
I didn't say the industry wasn't huge. What I meant is that young kids are not gonna. I mean, aren't out there buying them off the bookshelves and reading them. You know, out of the stores.
I think kids do buy comics too,
but not like they used to.
I
don't know. Maybe Frank will tell me different. I mean, if that's his living.
I just don't know if it's relatable in that way.
You used to be able to walk into every convenience store and find a comic book. Now you don't. I mean, you don't see that stuff.
But they don't sell magazines there either.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that don't get sold anymore, but yet there's still a market for them. And there are comic book stores.
Yeah, like in Tulsa, there's like 9 of them.
And they're popular.
We have one here.
But, you know. So I just don't see it the way you see it, Steve. There is a popularity for it. It's just not the same as what you think. It's niche.
No, it's not the kid like running to the newsstand and
right. They're not grabbing Archie comics.
Yeah, with their beanie flip in their back pocket.
Right. That's what you're thinking of.
No, I'm just thinking that younger kids are more into seeing it visually on TV and letting the story be read to them instead of reading it on their own. I could be wrong.
Well, and a lot of that, I think, it depends on parenting.
I would agree that there's far more kids taking it in digitally and in movies and stuff than going out and buying the actual paper copies of comic books. But that's also because like comic books now cost like $5 a piece.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a collector's market.
Expensive.
You know, how are kids going to get to the store unless their parents are involved in the hobby?
Here's the thing that pisses me off about it, Matt. And I don't know if it pisses you off, but it's a collector's market, but they mass produce the fucking things.
Yeah.
So how the fuck does it become a collector's market?
Because they mass produce the things and then they release one cover that's 1 per 100 and then one that's 1 per 50 and then one that's 1 per 25 and
right
because they create it.
And most of those wind up where?
Yeah, at the comic book store on the back shelf
on
eBay.
The comic book store owners.
But it's just like whenever I was a kid, I also collected baseball cards.
Yep, so did I.
And baseball cards did the same thing that the comic book industry has done now, where they decided like, oh, let's make these more collectible for adults and more expensive. And like, you went from getting to like 15 cards in a pack to 5 for twice as much. And you were trying to get that one card that had like a piece of the jersey on it. And they
killed
ruined
that
it.
market.
Yeah, they killed
that
it.
market.
Yeah, they destroyed it.
I was into baseball cards in the early 90s, and that's when the market started to die because they just mass produced everything.
But whenever you have arguably the 2 largest media companies in the world, and one owns DC and one owns Marvel, and they're pumping out these mega blockbusters that make billions of dollars, comic books ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, the movies definitely aren't. The genre isn't going away.
Well,
as
what
a
you got to
whole.
understand, Steve, is the movies drive interest from children.
Yeah.
Those children will go out and buy comic books.
How many Batman costumes do you see at Halloween time? I mean, it's still a big thing. I get that. I understand that.
So it is out there. It's just not the same as what you're thinking. 'Cause you're thinking like the old drugstore magazine comic book rack. Kids went in, they could pick it up real cheap. You can't do that anymore.
Nope.
So, and yeah, Chubbs is saying that, and he's right. Digital comics are big. You can just read them right online.
Yeah. To me, I don't know. It was great when I was a kid and I had that book in my hand and I could imagine the adventure. It's not. I don't think it can be. Yes, it can be sort of the same as far as imagination goes, but
whenever I was a kid, I would have, it was my grandparents. I'd have them take me to Starbase 21. It was the closest and the biggest comic book store in Tulsa. I would go there. I'd have them drop me off, come back and get me in like an hour, and I would just be going through stuff, looking at books and everything. Hardly ever bought anything, hardly ever had any money. But during those times in that store, I was the only kid in there. Like, you didn't see groups of kids. Like, by that time, the late 80s, early 90s, and the 90s, right around that time is really whenever comic books hit the mainstream and took off, because McFarlane created Spawn, and Liefeld and all them made Top Cow and created a whole new comic book genre. Anyways, the point is, there wasn't kids buying them then, and now one of my closest friends owns the biggest store in Tulsa, and every time I go in there, I always see kids in there.
Okay.
But I do see the majority of the customers are adults,
Yeah,
guys my age and a little younger.
Yeah, it's not like it was where only kids bought comics. Like, there used to be a time where the percentages were different, where the majority of purchases for comics were children,
and marketed as such.
Now they're marketed to children and adults, male and female.
And you've got, like, in my friend's shop, for instance, whenever you come in, the first shelf that you run into is the kids shelf, and it will have, like, maybe the most adult themed comic book there will be like Rick and Morty or something like that. It's mostly like, My Little Pony. The Batman has a ton of like younger kids version of comics.
Yeah.
So you'll have that, but then the rest of the shelving is all comic books that are geared towards adults, because a kid's going to come in there and buy 1 or 2 comic books, however much his parents will let him spend. But a grown-up is going to go in there and spend $200, $300.
Yep.
Every time they go in, and they go in at least once a week.
Dude, I'll tell you, I had a folder, and the amount of it got to a point where I had to stop, because I was spending so much money at the comic book store every month.
Yeah, that's why
I can't do this anymore. I can't fucking do this anymore.
I had so many subscriptions coming in weekly that I couldn't read the comic books I was buying.
And it gets bad and it's expensive.
And I wasn't one of the big customers.
Yeah. There are people who are much, much bigger than me, spending like entire fucking paychecks on fucking comic books. Oh yeah,
That's
dude.
when it becomes more of an addiction than a
Yeah.
hobby.
It gets crazy. It really does. But I don't know.
Well,
I-
if you're like a fan of Batman and you want to, follow that character and read everything, Batman that comes out, well, there's 12 different Batman comics, not to mention the spinoffs, They do that on purpose.
And those motherfuckers at the comic book stores. Oh, have you checked out this one yet?
Yeah. I put something extra in your box. I don't know if you want it or not.
This because it's an artist that's much like another artist you like.
And my friend who owns the comic book store did that to me one time.
That mother.
He had put this fucking book in my box, and he was like, "I really think you'd like this. You should check it out. It's got a good story." And I picked it up and I thumbed through it, and I was like, this artwork's crap. Like, I don't really give a shit. And that book was The Walking Dead, issue number 1.
Matt wishes he'd fucking kept that.
Oh, dude.
I ain't fucking taking this shit.
Yeah. That book came out at like
Nobody's ever going to
$3.
follow that.
It was like $3, $3.99 maybe. Now it's like over $1,000.
Yeah.
And is it because that other people did the same thing you did? I don't want that shit.
It's
Or
just
is it-
because it was an independent book that nobody really knew about.
Right.
So they didn't make a shit ton of them.
Right. And
They made enough, but then the show happened and the popularity took off. And see, here's the thing about all these movies and all these TV shows. Whenever that happens, everybody goes to the comic book store to buy the comic book.
Right.
So they just went poof.
I mean, they even have every year now, they have a thing called Free Comic Book Day where companies give away free comics. They send them to there's more to it actually, but
right
to the public, the comic books are free. And on those days, my friend will get to the store like an hour early, and there will already people be lined up all across the front of the strip mall that he's at waiting to get in. People that only come for Free Comic Book Day once a year to get their free shit.
Yeah.
But his store will stay packed all day long.
And he'll sell more that day.
Oh, yeah. Tons more.
He'll sell a lot of knick-knacky shit, and extra comics.
Impulse items.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, the comic book is a loss leader at that point, and they know it.
Well, it's a weird industry. It's weird how certain things happen. It started out as one thing, it went a completely different way. Look at how it is in Japan. In Japan, it's way
kind of
more
like the show
What's
tonight. I kind of like the show tonight. It started out as one thing, and we ended up on a completely different topic.
We always do that.
Well, once you wandered off into the the pool of comic books.
I'm not a comic book buyer or fan or anything like that. I mean, I used to be. When I was a kid, it was great. It was expanded your knowledge and imagination. But as an adult, I'm like,
1987 to present day.
I got a fucking Nightcrawler fucking action figure on my goddamn microphone. So, I mean,
I sell a lot of this stuff. Don't get me wrong.
I am not one of these people who's so, obsessed with comic books and shit. I'm not. I like the stuff. I am not nearly the comic book obsessed motherfucker that some people are out there. I mean, I go to some of these cons and stuff every once in a while when I do, and I look at people and I go, oof.
So you're not dressing up as Batman or
No, I think some of them are cool. Some of the people do some really cool shit.
Some of
and
the costumes are fucking cool.
Throw costumes together.
But see, okay. But if we're talking nerddom here, cosplay is only connected to comic books by characters.
Right. Correct.
There's a lot of cosplayers that don't read comic books.
Right. And I've some of the cons I've gone to, I've seen some pretty cool cosplayers.
Oh yeah,
some pretty neat stuff. There was, I remember there was a couple. My son, when he was real young, he was not as assertive as he is now. He was really reserved and shy, and he wouldn't walk up to anybody. So like he was like, I think it was like Link. Somebody was dressed up like Link from Zelda, and he was blown away by it. So I went up to him, and I think it was a girl that was actually dressed up as Link. And I was like, "Hey, do you mind if my son takes a picture with you?" And no, and he went right over. But he was just blown away by it. Like people like dress up like this. Like we stayed and watched the big cosplay. They had a competition. Like they ranked everybody and everything. He wanted to stay for that and check that out. And somebody had said done up the Ecto one, the Ghostbusters vehicle.
Yeah,
outside. They had that parked outside. So it's
That would be cool.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I mean, people do some pretty unique shit that they go all out. They get intricate. It's fun.
and where else are you going to be walking around and bumping the Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah, or whoever. If you go to some of the bigger ones. I've only been to some of the smaller ones, so I haven't seen any really big names.
You don't simply bump into Lou Ferrigno. Lou Ferrigno.
You better not, because he'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't like that.
May I please bump into you, sir?
The only good thing, if you catch him on the right side, you can whisper shit, and he won't hear you.
You're a big green bitch.
Because he can't hear.
How come you ain't painted green, asshole?
Whoa, Steve.
Yeah, don't say that to him.
Whoa.
Well, he was the Hulk,
Whoa.
I think, right? Yeah.
On that note, Steve.
What note?
I was just waiting for you to
Am I
break.
supposed to play a note or some
The
shit?
brown note, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
I'm sure you could. This has been the Fortean Slip episode. 106? I don't know anymore. I've stopped paying attention. The Rise of the Skinwalker. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment, subscribe. Check out our good friend. He's down there. Matt Knapp. At youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads and cryptid tales. You can check us out on Anchor at anchor.fm/the Fortean Slip. Still only Les Eckersley. The only person who's supporting the show. Just still less.
That dollar will go a long way.
That's right. That $1.
Wait, excuse me. 99 cents.
95.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I get after they take their cut. Check out Richard Allen's comic strip on Facebook. That's Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin. Check out Phil Poling of Para Breakdown at youtube.com/Para Breakdown. And as always, check out Dred Funn at dredfun.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. We will be back. Excuse me. Next Sunday. No bonus show this week for you fucks. I'm back Sunday with another show about something. I don't know what. But I'll give you something. Till then, see ya!